The South Park universe is filled with many entertaining, funny, and even complex characters.
I made you eat your parents.
For a show that's been running for almost 27 years, it's also bound to have some annoying, unfunny, or just straight up awful characters as well.
What did you say?
But what about the characters that the fandom can't seem to decide on? Today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the most polarizing characters in all of South Park. Their origins, their roles, why people like or dislike these characters, and what makes them so divided among fans of the show. Let's get started. Pip Perip. Okay, hold on. I know what you're thinking. Pip isn't polarizing, everybody hates him. Listen, that is propaganda spearheaded by Pip hate extremists. Okay, I'm kidding. But the reason I wanted him on this list is because every single video or post that I've seen about Pip being a terrible character, there's just as many people in the comments defending him. But let's get into the reasons why he was originally hated. Pip is heavily based on the protagonist of the same name, from Charles Dickens' novel, Great Expectations. His first appearance on South Park dates back to the unaired pilot.
Lunchy munchies? Go away, Pip. Nobody likes you.
Which, by the way, cut most of his screen time before the official version was released. From the very start of the show, he is depicted as one of South Park's most tortured characters.
Bet I could spit the most on him.
An orphan British boy whose sole purpose was to be a punching bag for the other students at South Park Elementary. Pretty much everybody disliked Pip. He couldn't even catch a break from the people who created him, Matt Stone and Trey Parker. They were very close to killing him off in Season 1, Episode 10, titled Damien.
This was a show, basically, we were going to kill Pip off and Damien was just going to kill him and it was going to be over. But then we decided to only sort of do that with Kenny.
What exactly caused all of this hate? What are Pip's irredeemable qualities that make him unliked by seemingly everyone? Well, he's British.
This just came from our basic idea that everyone hates British people. Which is true. Which is very true.
But that can't be the only reason. Another reason would be his reaction to the bullying. He kind of just takes it and responds with kindness. There's a lot of people who find this type of behavior frustrating, though it's not like it's unrealistic. Kids get bullied all the time in the real world, and most of them don't fight back or stand up for themselves. I think over the years, Pip has gained a lot of sympathy with South Park fans, and many feel he was not as bad a character as once originally thought. When you analyze his personality, he really is a sweet, caring boy with a cute British accent. He even has an episode that redeems his character slightly, where he is shown to have a hidden talent, being insanely good at dodgeball. There are two main reasons why Pip fell off as a character. The first being the time he got his own episode in Season 4. This is one of the worst rated South Park episodes of all time, and is often skipped by people who rewatch the show. The second and main reason was the introduction of Butters Stotch as a character. Matt and Trey felt these characters were too similar, and that ultimately Butters was just simply a much better version of Pip. You can't really disagree with that point, but you can disagree that Pip was a bad character. He was officially killed off by Mecha Streisand in episode 201. In my opinion, he's overhated. Do I prefer Butters? Absolutely 10 times over. Though calling Pip the worst character in all of South Park feels a little bit dramatic to me. I read a lot of comments on Reddit, Twitter, and other YouTube channels, and Pip seems to have gained favor with fans over the years, though definitely still has more haters.
I don't understand. You seem to like that boy, yet hate him at the same time.
Our next character, however, is a lot more polarizing. Maybe the most even split of hate and love in all of South Park. That character, of course, is Towelie.
I'm addicted to marijuana.
You might wonder how Matt and Trey came up with the idea of a talking towel in the first place. Well, they had an idea brewing to try and come up with the lamest character possible.
In the ways that shows create characters so that they can create shirts and stuff, it was kind of like, well, let's create the lamest character ever, right, based on a towel.
While wakeboarding on vacation, someone shouted at them,
Don't forget to bring a towel.
That phrase was stuck in their head all day. A little fun fact that a lot of people don't know, Trey Parker was originally going to voice Towelie, but Matt noticed he sounded almost identical to Mr. Hankey when doing the role. This would not cut it, so they got Vernon Chapman, one of their producers, to do the voice for Towelie instead. You have to take this character into context. He was quite literally created to be a bad character. So why do half of South Park fans absolutely adore him? Let's dive a little deeper into his character. Early on in the series, his only real personality trait is that he likes to get high. He is your stereotypical stoner that thinks smoking weed actually makes him smarter, gives him a better memory, etc.
Hold on, let me get high. Then I'll remember where it is.
All right, so where is it?
Where's what?
Ah!
It's pretty typical stoner humor, similar to what you would see from Cheech and Chong, a style of comedy that's not for everyone, but the people who do like it really like it. He did, however, eventually get another episode where he would be part of the main storyline, A Million Little Fibers, an episode that follows Towelie on his journey to become a published author. And this episode would go down in history, and not for good reasons. To this day, it is the worst rated South Park episode of all time. Yes, you heard that right. It's not Pip, it's not Jack Officer, it's a Towelie episode. I don't think Towelie should get the full blame for this episode though, as the Oprah storyline was pretty weird even for South Park.
Alright, everyone back!
4 seasons later, Matt and Trey would be bold enough to make another Towelie-centered episode called Crippled Summer. This is where Towelie is given more personality, from stoner to full-on drug addict.
Does anybody want their dick sucked by a towel?
This episode is a parody of Intervention, and it follows the story of Towelie's drug addiction and his friends and family's effort to try and get him clean. Although this episode has some insanely good one-liners,
It's like I'm walking on sunshine.
it's also ranked one of the worst South Park episodes. Towelie has 3 episodes in which he's the main character. 2 of the 3 are on IMDb's worst episodes list. Despite all of this, Towelie has some die-hard fans all over the internet, some even going as far to claim him as the best South Park character ever. He's still used even to this day in the Tegrity Farms era of South Park. No matter your opinion of Towelie, he is an iconic character in South Park and will likely be around in some form as long as the show is still airing. I'm really curious on what you guys think about Towelie. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, subscribing would really help me out. If not, well, you're a towel. Moving on to a more modern character, PC Principal.
Hey Leslie, put a fucking sock in it!
I vividly remember waiting for season 19 to drop, back in 2015. What I didn't expect at all was a character like this to debut. I was pretty active within the South Park community during these times. And let me tell you, after the first episode dropped called Stunning and Brave, PC Principal was either passionately hated or instantly your new favorite character. I mean, especially on Twitter, it felt like there was no in between. The creation of this character actually stems from a real-life experience that Bill Hader had. Hader, who is a pretty successful actor and celebrity in his own right, worked on South Park from season 15 to 19. In the writer's room, he told the guys about how he said something at a party and ended up getting screamed at by a frat bro for using a politically incorrect term.
You better watch your microaggressions, bro.
Once Trey Parker heard this story, he mimicked the voice and PC Principal was created. He was also supposed to be killed off at the end of his first episode, but Matt and Trey liked him so much they decided to keep him as the permanent principal of South Park Elementary. So what actually makes PC Principal a polarizing character? His character is an obvious satire of PC culture. It's Matt and Trey's way of making fun of the overly woke crowd of people. A character like this is bound to piss some people off. Well, because the character's existence in itself is political. A show like South Park thrives on being able to say whatever they want, whenever they want. It's what makes the show so great. PC culture is pretty much a direct attack on everything they stand for. But aside from the obvious political reasons, I've also heard that some people just find him repetitive, and that the joke was funny at some point, but now they're bored of the character. Over time though, PC Principal has evolved into a less intense version of himself than when he was first introduced. I personally prefer him over Principal Victoria, and I know this is an opinion that not everyone would agree with. Moving on to a character that has been polarizing since his debut episode, Mr. Hankey, the Christmas Poo.
Hey, a lot of people like him, alright?
Yeah, and a lot of people think he stinks.
The idea for Mr. Hankey went far back into the creative minds of Matt and Trey, claiming that it was something they had always wanted to do as far back as college. They flirted with the idea of a short, where a young kid sees a cheerful piece of poo full of life, but when someone else walks in on him, everyone else just sees a literal piece of shit. I don't think that idea went over well by their college professors. Something that a lot of fans don't know, before Comedy Central picked up the show, they were originally in deep talks with Fox about South Park. Fox absolutely refused to put a talking piece of poo on their network. When they pitched the idea to Comedy Central about a talking piece of poo, they were on board from the very start. Making the choice for which network to run South Park on, pretty easy. All of this being said, a talking piece of literal shit is going to be polarizing in itself. No matter your opinion of Mr. Hankey, he is similar to Towelie in that he's an iconic piece of history within the show. He was always going to make his way on somehow, even being seen in the unaired pilot intro of South Park. Although used fairly often in the first few seasons of the show, Mr. Hankey would appear less and less over time. His last real episode that focused on him was in season 23. The Problem with Pooh, an episode where Hankey tweets a bunch of offensive things after taking Ambien.
Did you tweet, "The kids of South Park are retarded homos who can't play music"?
And then gets kicked out of South Park. We will probably see him referenced at times, but it's unlikely he will ever come back in any type of significant role. Personally, I'm not that attached to his character, although Mr. Hankey's Christmas Classics is something that I rewatch every year. It's like my version of when people watch Elf or Home Alone in December once a year, and every cultured person watching this knows that Christmas Time in Hell is the best South Park Christmas song.
Even Mao Zedong is under the spell. It's Christmas time in hell.
Oh man, what a banger. Our next character is a special case. At one point in the show, he was one of the most beloved characters in the history of South Park. Yep, Randy Marsh. You would be hard-pressed to find someone who didn't have Randy Marsh in their top 3 favorite characters at some point. However, in more recent seasons, Randy has become one of the most polarizing South Park characters. Randy Marsh is based on Trey Parker's real father, also named Randy. Though, as South Park has evolved over the years, Trey Parker actually sees Randy more as a reflection of himself. Randy is responsible for some of the most iconic lines in all of South Park.
What, is this a communist country or something? No, this is America.
He's also involved in some of the highest rated episodes of all time. So where did it all go wrong? Why have some fans of the show seemingly turned on him out of nowhere? Some people feel like the Tegrity Farms era turned South Park into the Randy Marsh show. While liking the character, when he's overused every episode, his charm and what makes him great fades over time. Tegrity Farms felt like it was milked pretty hard for a while. Plot lines revolving around marijuana can get old pretty fast. On top of that, a lot of people prefer episodes with the 4 boys as the main focus. One thing that people need to remember is that South Park is a show that heavily reflects its writers. They were at their Randy stage in life. They're both older now with kids around the boy's age. Naturally, they relate to Randy the most, and that's what they ended up writing about during the Tegrity Farms era. The last few seasons have gone back to covering the 4 boys more often, and a lot of people hope that continues. I'm one of the people who will always love Randy no matter what, but I'd like to know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed this video, a like or sub would really help me out. I also have other content on my channel that you might be interested in. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.